John Darwin was a teacher and former prison officer from Seaton Carew, England. He had debt of £64,000. His mortgage was collapsing. He saw no way out. So in March 2002, he got into his canoe, paddled into the North Sea, and vanished. His canoe washed up damaged on shore the next day. No body was ever found. His wife Anne reported him missing. A coroner declared him dead. Anne collected £250,000 in life insurance and pension payments. The debt was cleared. John was not dead. He was living in a bedsit, a single room, in the house directly next door to his own home. Behind a wardrobe in the wall, there was a hidden passage connecting the two properties. He used it to move between the houses when no one was watching. For 3 years, he lived 11 feet from his own family. His sons believed he was gone. They were never told. In 2006, John and Anne decided to move to Panama. They visited a property company there to look at apartments. The company's representative photographed them together and posted the image on the company's own website. A woman in England, reading about the case after John reappeared, simply typed John Ann Panama into a search engine. The photo came up immediately. She sent it to the police and to the Daily Mirror newspaper. In December 2007, John Darwin walked into a London police station claiming he had amnesia. The photo had already been found. Nobody believed him. Both John and Anne were convicted of fraud. John received 6 years and 3 months. Anne received 6.5 years. Their sons, who testified at the trial, said they had no idea their father was alive. Mark Darwin told the court the news had crushed his world. John Darwin had assumed a false identity using the name of a real baby who died in 1950, John Jones. That baby's family later demanded an apology. John Stonehouse was a Labour Party MP and cabinet minister in Harold Wilson's government. He was touted as a future prime minister. He was also under investigation for financial fraud, alleged work as an intelligence agent for Czechoslovak security services, and a long-term affair with Parliamentary Secretary Sheila Buckley. In November 1974, Stonehouse flew to Miami. He went to a beach. He took off his clothes, neatly folded them, and left them in the sand. Then he walked away. His wife reported him missing. A search was launched. Newspapers published his obituary. His family held a memorial service. Everyone assumed he had drowned. Stonehouse was in Australia. He had acquired fake identities using the names of 2 deceased constituents, men who, as local MPs, had access to their deaths. He opened bank accounts. He began transferring money. He was starting a new life with Sheila Buckley. However, a bank teller became suspicious of his behavior, unusual transactions, fake names, and reported him to the police. Australian police took him into custody. They suspected he might be Lord Lucan, the British aristocrat who had disappeared in 1974 following the murder of his children's nanny. Police asked Stonehouse to lower his trousers and check for a recognizable scar on Lucan's thigh. There was no scar. He was John Stonehouse. He was extradited to Britain and charged with fraud, deception, and theft. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison, but served only 3 due to health problems. He suffered 3 heart attacks in prison. After his release, he married Sheila Buckley. He tried to reinvent himself as a thriller novelist. He died of a heart attack in 1988. Lord Lucan was never found. He was officially declared dead in 1999. Stonehouse never admitted to being a spy. Czech intelligence files opened after the Cold War show records of payments and regular meetings. His daughter maintains his innocence. His nephew's biography concludes that he was guilty. Marcus Schrenker was a financial advisor from McCordsville, Indiana. He had a $4 million house, a private jet, a wife and 3 children, and a seemingly successful asset management business. It was all built on fraud. He had been defrauding investors for years. His wife filed for divorce on December 30th, 2008. His financial advisor license expired the following day. A federal judge issued an asset freeze against him. On January 11th, 2009, Schrenker took off from Anderson, Indiana, in a single-engine Piper Malibu aircraft bound for Florida. Somewhere over Alabama, he radioed air traffic control. He said his windshield had shattered. He stated he was bleeding profusely. He called for emergency assistance. He then put the plane on autopilot, attached his parachute, and ejected over Childersburg, Alabama. 2 F-15 fighter jets scrambled to intercept the aircraft. The pilots reported that the cockpit was dark, the door was open, and no one was inside. The windshield was intact. There was no blood. The plane flew over 200 miles before crashing into a swamp near Milton, Florida. Schrenker landed, freed himself from the tree branches where his parachute had become entangled, and went to a warehouse where he had hidden a red motorcycle. He rode the motorcycle to a campground in Tallahassee, Florida, which he had prepared beforehand. 2 days later, he was found by U.S. police. Barely conscious, he was muttering, "Die." He had cut his own wrist. He survived. He pleaded guilty to deliberately destroying an aircraft and making a false distress call to the Coast Guard. He was sentenced to 51 months in prison and ordered to pay over $900,000 in damages. Faking one's own death is not illegal under U.S. federal law. Schrenker was convicted of destroying the aircraft and making a false distress call, not of the attempted disappearance itself. Arkady Babchenko was a Russian war correspondent and fierce critic of the Kremlin. He had reported from Chechnya, covered multiple conflicts, and written openly against Putin's government. He had received death threats. He fled Russia in 2017 and settled in Kyiv. About a month ago, May 2018, Ukrainian security service officials, he told him there was a contract on his life, that Russian security services had paid someone to have him killed. They proposed a plan, stage his assassination to identify the man who had placed the order. Babchenko agreed. On May 29, 2018, his wife called emergency services. She had found him shot in their apartment. Bleeding on the floor, paramedics arrived. He was taken to hospital. The doctors certified field death. His colleagues mourned publicly. Russia was condemned internationally. Media organizations ran his photograph. The journalist community held vigils. What they did not know, the blood was pig's blood. The t-shirt had been prepared in advance with bullet holes. A makeup artist had helped stage the scene. The paramedics and the doctor were part of the operation. Babchenko was at the morgue, very much alive, watching the news coverage of his own death on television. The following day, Ukrainian Security Service Chief Vasyl Gritsak held a press conference to discuss the killing. Midway through, he invited a guest into the room. Babchenko walked in. The man who had arranged the contract on his life had already been arrested that morning. The operation worked, but it drew immediate criticism from press freedom organizations around the world, who argued that using a journalist's fake death as a law enforcement tool damaged public trust in media reporting. Babchenko said he had no regrets. He apologized to his wife for the experience she had gone through. He said he would do it again. Babchenko's wife was not informed in advance. She genuinely believed he was dead until the press conference following day.